Hey, coming up right now, a hotel guest discovers an unnerving addition to his bathroom door. Could this be the new unlocked fear?
Ooh, also coming up, the Menendez brothers are hoping fresh eyes on their case might give them a second chance. The piece of paper that could upend their life sentences.
A little bit later on, scary moments for a pop star when he runs off stage during a show. We'll explain.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi there, I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English. Welcome y'all to Daily Flash. So glad to have y'all here. Man, we got a great show with today's trends, tomorrow's talks. We also got Mr. Burton, Leon Reynolds, Matt Doolittle right here to my right. What's up there, Matt?
Guys, you know what's killing me?
What's that, man?
Pringles is getting rid of this.
The
No.
After 15 years, they're going back to a bag, and they're
50 years. They can't.
no
they had that
15
when
years.
I was a kid.
15 years. They've had the pop you can't stop.
Can we double check
Are
that?
we sure about that? Because I remember when I was a
Can
kid,
we call
we
the
had
research
those.
team?
I'm
and
looking
find
at
out
it,
if-
and they
Maybe
haven't
it
had
was
a
a
bag
special.
snack in more than 15 years.
Now I
And
remember
they're gonna go to a bow tie way. I don't
Oh
want
wait,
my
the
Pringles
Pringle
dip.
is changing?
They're changing it into a bow tie and
I
they're
thought
putting
you
it in a
meant the
bag.
case. The
Yeah,
can.
I do too. The can is not changing, but the Pringle
No,
shape.
the can is changing into a bag, and they're changing the chip into a
boo.
bow tie.
I protest.
I don't like it.
Nothing
Nope.
in the world is right anymore. I take that away. You know the guy who invented that? They buried him literally
In a Pringles
in a
can?
Pringles can, a large Pringles can. Check that. Research department. They're not getting rid of the can. They're getting a new design.
But
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 says
this
Maddie.
is, come on.
Matt, and what did we learn about Pringles? What's the best thing to do with Pringles? Show everybody.
You duck face it.
Duck face. You get that's the
Oh,
only
the duck
thing
face, yes.
that they're after. So
The one thing I always go for in the hotel,
The
in the
mini
room,
can?
is the mini can of Pringles.
Hey,
I don't
there
know
you
why
go.
they
There you
taste
go.
so
Well,
darn
flip
good.
the top one, flip it the other
You got
way.
the crooked
I'll
duck.
get there. I'll get there.
All right,
There you
go.
I feel great when I teach others how to do
Yeah,
stuff.
don't you?
That's a good thing because you take it out and now you have a can. You can put your whatever in here, your change or whatever.
Your change.
Look at me being the
You know what you put in
correct.
here?
What's that, Maddie?
You put your weed in here.
You put your weed. That's what I was referring to.
A $10 can of Pringles in the
That
hotel
was a
room,
weed
and
can.
it's a wheat can. Speaking of food,
Okay. Ooh.
have you heard about Pizza Hut's new approach to resumes?
No, you've got to explain.
Okay, so Pizza Hut has decided they're going to do a whole new program. They know a lot of people are struggling to find jobs, so they're calling it the the resume delivery service. They're
Okay.
going to put your resume on top of a pizza box and deliver it to the boss you
Smart.
want to get in front of.
Very
that's
smart.
cool.
Yeah,
I love
isn't
that
neat?
idea.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't cost you any extra. It would just you need to
I
have
don't
give them your
think
resume.
so. I
But
think
that's
you
a
just
great
need
idea.
to give them the resume, and they've got like I said, the catchy little name for it, and resumes.
I
That's
get
what they're
it.
calling
The
it,
double
like pizza.
Zs.
Yeah.
Here's what I have an issue with some of these pizza places, including Pizza Hut. So if you're working
Okay.
at Pizza Hut, and we'll move on after this, is that they don't have their drivers now. They'll get your
DoorDash.
DoorDash or whatever.
Uber Eats.
Which, okay, I get
Yeah.
that. But the DoorDash people, they don't have the insulated things to keep your pizzas warm, right? So every time I get one, when I order from Pizza Hut, it's a cold pizza. So
Or
I
you
don't
get
like
a robot
that's why I
pizza.
wind up eating pizza.
Or
with
you get a
weed.
robot pizza
Yeah.
thing delivery.
The robot
Yeah,
pizza,
there's.
yeah.
You figure in the world that we live in today, we
Yeah.
could at least give our DoorDash folks
You would think so.
insulated cases.
It would be nice.
All right. Or after this, I'll more than likely have to put my resume on a pizza box anyway.
Don't you imagine like your resume arriving with like oil stains and a little sauce?
that's
Like
just
that's
grease
really
and
gonna
screw.
sell you. Oh goodness.
All right. All right. If you travel a lot and you stay at hotels, this next story might make you think twice about your next trip. Check this out. A traveler actually posted a discovery that he had made at the bathroom of his hotel room. Now, on a social media post, he showed the door from outside the bathroom with a lock that required a key at the top of the door. Now, why can you lock it from the outside? He questions himself. Well, the video's already got about 16,000 views. Many people want to know what happens if someone locks you in the bathroom. Others say it seems like it's going to be a scene out of a horror movie, but even still, it could be something really scary altogether. I, however, just think Somebody just screwed up. I can't.
It
Why
could
would
be
you
that
need a lock?
simple.
No.
Right? That makes zero sense.
And maybe if this hotel, we don't know too much about the hotel. This could have been a storage room. They're like, you put it in there.
Yes, or it could have been a storage facility before it became a hotel.
We
Who
don't know.
knows? Yeah.
So just leave the door open.
Some family members of Lyle and Eric Menendez are calling for their release after a new letter from Eric to a cousin has resurfaced. In the letter, Eric seems to suggest problems with his father, alleging sexual abuse. The letter was given to the LA District Attorney, and Aunt claims it was written to Eric's cousin when he was 13 years old. The brothers were sentenced to life without parole in 1996 after admitting they murdered their parents in the family's home. Eric and Lyle, who were 21 and 18 at the time, went on a wild shopping spree and spent millions of what they thought would be their inheritance following the death of their parents. Prosecutors claimed there was no evidence of any molestation at the time of the trial. And if you recall, Lyle was making phone calls to some woman who was interested in him. She was recording all those conversations, and he was talking to her about the setup and the ploy to call molestation their defense so they could get out of it.
And that person wound up selling it to the National Enquirer, and it made such a big story about it. Without going into the deeps, because I'm sure everybody knows the story about the Menendez brothers.
Yeah.
It's why the mom did, and then the fact that mom was still alive, and they went and got bullets to go back and
finish her off.
And they're going to say, well, when they get out of her misery and that sort of thing. So you really have to pull out on a full scale about this. Granted, it's a horrible thing if that was the case. No wonder, but there's a justified death, and their mindset. That's what the movie or the movies and documentaries are trying to make you think about.
And I get that, but that does not justify you blowing both of your parents away with a shotgun, shooting them over and over and over and
going
over
on,
again,
and stopping and coming back
and reloading. And another interesting note to this story is that George Gascon is the district attorney in Los Angeles, and he's up for re-election.
Oh, okay.
So it's odd that this story all of a sudden has resurfaced just a few weeks before the election.
Interesting. That's what's just like gas prices. They always go down around.
Isn't it crazy?
time as
Last
well.
week too, we talked about I had a dream where Rosie O'Donnell
Yes.
punched me, and then she was part of that.
She was like all for this.
I never thought about Rosie O'Donnell,
Strange.
and then she's in the middle
And
of
why
this thing.
her is what's so
don't
weird.
know.
Probably she wants to get recognition. Everybody's going to jump on this, especially because of Netflix
Yes,
and that sort of thing.
absolutely.
People are running away, including Nick Jonas, but maybe for a different reason. He ran off the stage during a recent Jonas Brothers concert after someone in the crowd pointed a laser at him. Now, the singer stopped the show, bolted off the stage right in the middle of a set. In a video from the show, you can actually see the brothers signaling for a timeout to a security team. Now, after Nick left the stage, his brothers Joe and Kevin also ran off the show. It was paused for about 10 minutes. Once the scene was swept for the laser pointer, all three Jonas Brothers returned to the stage. And I would say, what an asinine thing to do, because it is. However, I got in trouble. I was an adult, and I did it at church.
Wait, what? When did this happen?
Jeez, it was in the night. It was when they laser
In the
pins.
90s?
Yes,
It was in the 90s.
And it was a pin, like maybe early 2000, late 90s. Like when the lasers first started coming out, you can buy them anywhere. And so the guy was at our church, like anybody, like not just the bishop, but people do. And I was like, and I wanted the kids to like me, and so I was like putting it up there. I didn't do it for a long time.
Did you get banned from church because of that?
No, I didn't get banned. I didn't get
for other
banned.
reasons.
I needed to find Jesus, apparently. But that's a true story.
But not with a laser pointer.
But I
Bigger
get why he
offering.
took off, because didn't Ariana Grande have an incident in France with one of her concerts where it was like a whole epic thing? Where it's like,
But they can blind you. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
If you point it directly in the eye of someone, I mean.
oh, if you nail a pilot with it, they will put you in prison.
Exactly. As they should.
And lasers, you normally think, with guns, laser gun, and I could see why he would have done that, and that's probably protocol, something he needed to do. So I don't blame him for doing that at all.
A theater in the UK provided first aid for a moviegoer who became violently ill after watching a new horror film featuring a killer clown. A warning message was posted on the screen ahead of the movie about the extreme violence and excessive gore in the latest Terrifier flick.
Also, most of our crew has seen it, and y'all a bunch of weirdos.
Yes.
Okay. Following the premiere, the theater said 11 people walked out and one person threw up during the screening. The Terrifier franchise follows Art, a sadistic clown who terrorizes residents of a fictitious New York town. Since the movie first premiered back in 2016, each sequel from the franchise has caused many moviegoers to leave the theater.
Which is great PR,
Yeah.
number one. And look, you have cameras on the people in there. They always yell at you about having your phone, but yeah, they're filming people in there. I think it's great publicity. I think if you're
absolutely.
going to go see that kind of film, you know that what it is.
Yeah.
I don't like watching horror
Me
films.
neither.
Because I dream about them too much afterwards. But hey, why not? I know, like I said, the camera guys got all excited about
everybody,
it.
every one of you.
All of y'all's. All of y'all's doing it. All right, stick around. We got more Flash coming up right around the corner here. You don't want to miss it. Trending today's trends and tomorrow's talk. We're also going to be talking about mojitos and MRI, something that actually is going to change the way you think about healthcare and so forth. All that right here on Daily Flash.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. Medical tourism is on the rise. Imagine going to a beautiful beach, sipping on a mojito and being taken care of hand and foot minutes before you get an MRI. It is the new state of medicine. People paying less for health care overseas and turning those doctor's visits into vacations. Joining us to talk about the pros and the cons of medical tourism is Business Insider's healthcare reporter, Manisha Krishnan. Manisha, welcome to Daily Flash.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So what are some of the key reasons people are opting to undergo medical screenings and treatments while on vacation in countries like Mexico, Thailand, Turkey?
So the main reasons that I heard were this is sort of considered preventative health care, and it's for people who want to make sure that they're healthy. And so they want to get body scans, MRIs, blood tests, ultrasounds done all at once. And the main reason that they're going abroad is because they can do that in a day or two for, around $800 US, as opposed to doing it here where it might take months and also be a lot more costly.
Let's talk about standards. How do the medical facilities and standards in popular medical tourism destinations compare to those in the U.S. and other developed countries?
So it seems like the field has evolved a lot to the point where there's a lot of accrediting agencies, so these international bodies that sort of evaluate these hospitals, even go and visit them and make sure that they're up to par. And the main thing that I heard from everyone was if you're going to do this, make sure you're going to an accredited facility.
What are the most common health screenings and procedures sought by medical tourism? I know you talked about a few. And why are they often cheaper abroad?
So it's interesting because the screening segment of medical tourism is kind of a growing area. Most people are still going abroad for cosmetic surgery, to be honest. But one of the main services that I was hearing offered is something that's called an executive checkup. And it's where you can see, 8 different specialists ranging from cardiology, internal medicine, gynecology, all at once, and basically get everything done, get like a cancer-free check, for example, done in just one day.
Are the doctors there trained in the U.S. or are they trained in their home countries?
So that was something I didn't look too deeply into, but I know that, for example, one of the hospitals that I spoke to in Mexico City is associated with the Mayo Clinic here in the States, and some of their doctors are trained in the US.
And Manisha, how do medical tourists typically navigate the risks associated with traveling for healthcare, such as follow-up care or even the communication barrier? Sometimes it's hard enough just to talk to your doctor in English.
So one of the main things that was sort of included in a lot of these packages is a concierge service, and they will have someone pick you up from your hotel room, take you to all of your appointments that day, translate for you. And then a couple of the hospitals that I spoke to, they'll do multiple follow-up appointments. Even when you go back home, they'll check up on you, let's say 3 months later. But of course, it is also important to communicate anything, alarming that you might find to your doctor in the US.
And Manisha, are you paying out of pocket for this, or is there any sort of insurance plan that covers this kind of medical tourism?
No, most of this is paid out of pocket. But then again, a lot of these people in the States either don't have insurance or are maybe underinsured. So the stuff that they're doing abroad, they wouldn't be covered here anyway.
And what impact do you see medical tourism having on local healthcare systems here in the U.S. and thus also on popular destinations like Mexico and Turkey?
That is a super interesting question. And I think it would totally range from country to country because you do see a scenario where maybe medical tourists are going and taking away resources or doctors who would otherwise be serving the locals there. On the other hand, it could be creating new jobs. I mean, it is creating new jobs, and also having this sort of knockoff effect of where people are sort of spending their money and their tourism dollars in that destination.
Manisha, thank you so much. Terrific information there. For more info on medical tourism, head over to businessinsider.com. We'll also have this interview on our website, dailyflashshow.com. Mitch.
All right, very interesting stuff there. I know even people are retiring because of those situations in other countries. We move on now to some trending stories. Singer Lana Del Rey recently tied the knot in Louisiana, and guests are calling it Cajun cool. From the dress to her new hubby, Lana Del Rey actually defied the Hollywood convention. Indeed, Lana, actually reportedly worth about $30 million, tied the knot with Gator guide Jeremy Dufresne. Saying that right?
Yeah.
The couple celebrated their I-do's, where Jeremy operates his swamp boat tours. The couple met way back in 2019 when Lana actually took a bayou boat ride with friends, and Jeremy was their captain. Oh, Mary the captain. Word has it that she actually bought her wedding dress back in May from a thrift store in New Orleans. After exchanging the vows, newlyweds celebrated with an outdoor reception. Now, this is the first marriage for the New York-born summertime sadness singer, and it's the second marriage for Jeremy. He's a Louisiana native and a divorced father of 3. We wish them congratulations.
I love this. I mean, I think it's kind of cool. They had a small, intimate wedding right there where the guy does his swamp boat tours, and she seems like she's madly in love with this guy.
Which is cool, which sounds like a movie all of a sudden right there, is saying the big Hollywood type. And she kind of gave up Hollywood, or that big scene somewhat, right?
Yeah.
And moved to New Orleans.
And I'm trying to remember, she was dating somebody for a while, and I can't think of who it was, but it was somebody who was
if we can have somebody look that up.
Pretty famous on television or sports, and he was a sportscaster.
Okay.
Anyway, it was just interesting to see her sort of take a back seat now. And she slowly kind of put photos of herself and him on her Instagram page. It wasn't like initially, oh, we're hot and heavy. It was just kind of a gradual. So it seems to me like she really got to know him and she really fell in love.
And he is the one that's really going to have a lot of the challenges, if you think about it, where he's going to have to face it. But if she says, look, I'm ready for this low-key lifestyle, then maybe, and she's already seen it. So there's a lot to that, right?
I think so, too.
There's a lot to do in it as well. Matt's coming up in just a few moments, telling us about the Florida man. It's a Florida man story. You don't want to miss out on that. We got today's trends, tomorrow's talk right here on Daily Flash.
Hey, welcome to Doing It This Week. That's right, it is Doing It. I am Matt Doolittle. And listen, folks, I am a Florida man. Born and raised in Winter Park, Florida. I've lived in Miami, survived Tampa, St. Pete, and visited Jacksonville. You really don't want to go there. And let's not forget my uncle's still kicking in Daytona. So trust me when I say this all is real.
What you're about to see may be dangerous, petty, misguided, but most definitely stupid. But it's also all true. Sort of.
The Sunshine Law in the state of Florida really perpetuates that Florida man stereotype.
Thank you, man!
Stories get wilder and wilder. More often than not, they're not true. But in Florida, they're all true.
Now, yes, I am a proud Florida man. I've seen a gator go head-to-head with a python, like a WWE match. I've hit a python with my car on the way to the Keys. Don't worry, I'm fine. The python, not so much, and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission gave me $100 for it. My Nissan survived. I've nearly died a few times naturally, but hey, that's just a Tuesday here in Florida. And let's not forget, I've rubbed elbows with some of the biggest celebrities in the world because of Florida. Ray Allen, Norm Macdonald, Shaq, Ric Flair, Amanda Bynes, Hulk Hogan. We'll get to that later. Now, if you don't know my background, here's a fun fact. My dad ran one of the most infamous strip clubs in the state. Yeah, you heard me right. Macbeth in the Buffet Club Wanna. We really put the class in classic Shakespeare. Yeah, down here. But let me tell you, beyond the craziness, Florida is absolutely amazing. We've survived hurricanes, alligators, crazy news headlines. I mean, some guy, ate someone's face. And hey, at the end of the day, we still have Walt Disney World. It's expensive. You know what? Nothing else really matters. When you know where you come from, that's all that matters. But all the stories of Florida Man are pretty much true. And that's doing it here in Florida. Guys, what do you think? I mean, we've all lived in Florida, so most of those stories are true.
100%. And I always say, well, everybody moves from crazy places and comes down here and does the crazy stuff. We can only use that excuse just
so we get
sometimes.
the extra crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what our excuse is. But I love being here. I do
too. I love Florida too. Well, the Netflix dating show Love is Blind is making it rain for one fragrance company.
Okay.
On the second episode of the latest season, Taylor Krause uses a roll-on perfume to add scent to her love note to Garrett. Didn't take long for fans to look up the product and start giving reviews on social media. Pure Instinct says sales have increased tenfold after the episode featuring their product, and their website saw a 500% bump in traffic right after it aired.
That's all it takes, I guess, too.
so.
And when love is blind, they say your other senses go up. So
I keep seeing this commercial for a new men's cologne, and the women are blindfolded, and the guy walks into the room. He stands there for a little while and then leaves, and she's like, "Is he gone? I can't tell, but he smells fantastic." I'm like, that's a really good ad.
100%. It's because that's what guys would want.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be because the sense of smell is one of the most powerful because it triggers back memories. I remember at one time, like if you did Old Spice and Brute 55 or whatever, the stuff your dad would have worn back in the 70s or so, that attracted women because it brought back that memory. I don't know how popular it worked.
Polo.
Polo,
that reminds me of high school. Polo.
I agree. Popular YouTube star Mr. Beast says that he has pre-recorded videos that will be released after his death.
Okay.
Despite his net worth of $500 million, that's true. Mr. Beast, he's only 26 years old, and experts say he is, well, many, many years ahead of him. Mr. Beast did not mention what's featured in the content he's created after he's gone. He recently said that certain people in his company will actually know where to find it. Now, Mr. Beast and some of his projects have been the subject of some recent controversies. Some say it's jealousy over his wealth and popularity, while others say it could just be politics. Out of all of the influencers, I like this kid because he does stupid stuff, but that's how you get people to watch. But he also donates a lot of the money to people and helps people, that are in need and that sort of thing. And he's an entrepreneur. Granted, if anybody is a good key or a good measure of how to make influencing, it's him. So I appreciate that.
He said he spent 5 years studying the algorithms of YouTube just to figure out how he could get and make these videos as popular as possible. And then, of course, fast forward, he's the most followed YouTube star out of anybody on the channel. Same goes for the other social medias, where he's at least in the top 5. And, that's how he makes all his money, all those sponsorships.
He knows what works, too, as far as content goes, just outrageous stuff, and has people on there. And I appreciate that. He knows, listen, I'm just doing this to do it. It's not like,
not rocket science.
And he has his buddies around him, too, which I appreciated that as well. Just like us here on Daily Flash. And by the way, we'd love for you to gather around our website. You can head there anytime you like. It's dailyflashshow.com. Anything you've seen here on the show, you can see it there waiting for you, along with links. And, of course, if you want to talk to us or something you've seen on the show, they can contact us.
We are going to be talking about an interesting door lock coming up at a hotel. We'll see what you think about it.
Freaks you out.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everybody. I am Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, your source for trending news and entertainment.
We got today's trends, tomorrow's talks, and it's interesting. I gave up drinking. Just too many problems because of this guy over here. But
I had nothing to. Well,
I like how you blame Matt for
I had a little bit to do with.
First off, it's never your fault. It's always somebody
else.
I'm joking.
Vegas,
Matt
baby, Vegas.
I came across this article, and it's very interesting. It's something that's called dry tipping. dry tipping, which not what you think of. But it's called basically sober travel.
Dear HR.
But it's basically becoming more and more popular. Sober travel, meaning you go to a travel agency because they're always trying to find something like a niche.
An angle.
An angle, if
Yes.
you will, right. And there's a lot of people actually that would love to go to a place, like if you go to Italy, it's known you're just going to drink wine because that's what they do over there.
100%.
Right?
They
So-
serve you a limoncello the minute you sit down at a table.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you're on vacation, you happen to drink
time to
one.
drink.
Greece,
Sure.
it was ouzo everywhere we went. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
All right. So now what they're saying is they're finding places that will go and they'll set up a whole package and take and they, instead of drinks, they have mocktails and that sort of thing. And already 40% of the travelers are actually booking for this company called Hooked Travel that are booking these sober travels, and it's becoming more and more popular. And that way, the temptation is out of the way.
Okay.
And then you also know, hey, I don't have to worry about because you give up a lot, meaning not like you're relinquishing it. You give up a lot when you're on vacation, meaning, well, I'm not going to work out.
You
I'll
cave.
just need one trip.
You're right.
So
Yes, of
I
course.
find that interesting. I'm glad to see that more and more people are jumping upon that.
Dry tripping.
Dry tripping. And I did say dry tipping,
Yep.
didn't I?
Yeah,
but
you
it's
did.
dry tripping. And here's a tip. Don't forget the R. Dry tripping. Thank you.
I was like, how do you tip on that? I didn't know.
You know, they don't like that. You know what? In places, they want you to booze up because
Of course they do.
waiters and waiters.
You spend more money.
Yeah.
The places that you don't drink a lot, desserts, they push the desserts on you more.
Oh,
So keep that
yes,
in mind,
very
too.
true. Well, for those of you who travel a lot and stay at hotels, this next story might make you think twice during your next trip. Check this out. A traveler posted a disturbing discovery he made in the bathroom of his hotel. In a social media post, he showed the door from the outside. The bathroom had a lock that required a key near the top of the door.
Okay.
Why can you lock it from the outside? He questioned. The video has been viewed more than 16,000 times. Many want to know what happens if someone locks you in the bathroom.
It's called the Matt
Others
Lauer.
say this seems like a scene out of a horror movie. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I don't know.
Do you think somebody just screwed up? And you know, like, is this, if it's every bathroom, that's one thing.
You got bargain labor, and they didn't
Yeah.
realize that the lock goes on the inside, not the outside.
Yeah, you go by, all right, it's got a lock on it, move on. You don't think those sort of things. It is a little bit scary. And what do you do? Now, you know, Matt and I travel, and after he eats a lot of, you know, pork, yeah, you want to lock him in there.
You get a separate room.
Yes, you want to keep him in there as long as possible.
You know,
I got to lay it on you, Matty, all right? We travel too
the
much
one
together.
time you went surfing.
Yeah, sure. All right, I'll give him that. You know, look at those things. I know that there are on websites, especially it seems like flight attendants do this. They'll teach you different things like on your front door, like
Yes.
how to lock it. They'll show you ways people are able to unlock your door
Yeah.
and how to prevent it and that sort of thing. So, all right, at least that person was really having their eyes open for that sort of thing. It's good to see.
Right. Astute, observational.
Yeah. If you're traveling alone, though, I guess that would be the one thing. Is like, why would you want to lock the door if you're in a hotel room by yourself?
Right.
That's the only time I think I'd leave the door open. I don't want to go into this conversation about that.
Know
at all.
about
I'm
that.
adamant about locking the door, though. And you're always like, just let them all come in and whatever. And sometimes you find the wrong ice machine.
No, I'm sorry.
Right,
That is if we're talking about leaving doors open, that can lead to the end of a relationship.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. That's why I say when you travel alone, it's
Yes.
We got more trendy news and entertainment coming your way. Stick around. You're watching Daily Flash.
KSA Entertainment believes in our communities. We value those who have dedicated their lives to enrich our own. KSA Entertainment is proud to introduce our corporate initiative, KSA Cares. KSA Cares shines a light, gives a voice, and lends a helping hand through compelling awareness initiatives. From supporting veterans to environmental awareness, KSA Entertainment is proud to produce content supporting ways to help communities all across America.
Multi-platinum rock group Trans-Siberian Orchestra kicks off a new tour celebrating 20 years of the beloved rock opera, The Lost Christmas Eve. Joining us to talk about the new show is Kayla Reeves and Al Pitrelli. So this year's tour celebrates the 20th anniversary of The Lost Christmas Eve and its return to the stage. What makes the rock opera special, and what can fans expect from the new production?
Well, it's just extremely exciting after over a decade to bring back The Lost Christmas Eve. And
it's your favorite, right?
It's my favorite.
Oh, okay.
I love the blues, and so I don't mind a little darkness, and I love the depth and the soulfulness and the story and the narration and the music. And so it's exciting. It's been 12 years, so it's time.
And technology has advanced so much that our crew can now bring this to life visually in ways that they couldn't even thought up a dozen years ago. So it really is going to be more over the top than our normal over the top.
So can you give our viewers a sneak peek at what they'll be seeing at this year's show?
To be honest with you, I don't know. We won't know. Kayla and I don't get to see the production until we walk into our production rehearsal, in Council Bluffs in a couple days. And that's when we'll kind of get an eyeful and go, oh my God, this is bigger than it was last year. So, our job is to make sure that the music is executed and articulated as close to perfection as possible. And we have the best crew chiefs and road crew on the planet that are making sure that the production is as good, if not better, than the music. So we're constantly back and forth with that to make it bigger and better.
With TSO reaching its 20 millionth concert goer, what does the milestone mean to you and the band?
Oh man, did you see that coming?
No. 20 million tickets. Unbelievable.
It's just an honor to be a part of something amazing. And, 20 million tickets and $1 from every ticket sold has gone back into local communities that we come through. To continue that legacy is awesome.
Also, I remember selling out the Tower Theater in Philadelphia in 1999 thinking we sold 3,000 tickets. Man, this is the biggest thing ever. And then you fast forward 25, 26 years now, and we passed 20 million tickets sold. I didn't see this one on the horizon, and I'm so proud of Paul O'Neill and the art form that he created.
Yeah, it's a great show. I've seen one myself a few times in person. So TSO has surpassed 20 million in charitable donations by giving back $1 from each ticket sold. How has this commitment to charity shaped the band's legacy and inspired its fans?
We come through town, like a traditional rock band comes through town and they leave town. Paul O'Neill was adamant about, not only did he want to come through town, but he wanted to, be impactful. He wanted to change. We grew up in New York in the 60s and 70s when you had Santa Claus in front of the grocery store ringing the bell with a big, cast iron bucket that people throw their change into. He was always walking around the streets of New York City handing people $5, $10 bills whenever he could. He wanted to make a difference. He talked about making a difference once and has made a difference ever since.
Well, that's great. And where can we get tickets and more info?
You can find your tickets at tsotickets.com, or you can go to trans-siberian.com.
Thanks, guys. We're getting our tickets now, and you can check this out on our website at dailyflashshow.com.
This is Tim. Tim is all about time. And if you've ever had a chance to look into Tim's cold, dead eyes, you'll see that it's time for you to follow us on social media. Sure, there's 10,000 social sites out there, and we don't have the time to name them all. Seriously, just ask Tim. So take the time to look for Daily Flash TV on your favorite social sites and start following us. That's all the time, Tim. Goodbye.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. There's a new documentary out from John Deere, and it's shining a spotlight on the shortage of volunteer firefighters all across our country. Here's more about the movie. It's airing this month on your local PBS station.
The goal of this film is to really highlight all the great work that volunteer firefighters are doing in their community. I don't think people often see it. You really are going to get immersed in the lives of these volunteers.
3/4 of the land mass in this country is protected by volunteer firefighters, and about 2/3 of the firefighters in this nation are volunteer.
These communities didn't have volunteers to serve and to respond to emergency calls. They would have nobody to answer 911.
If there wasn't volunteer firefighters, volunteer EMS, you could be waiting 30, 40 minutes before an ambulance could get to you, before a fire truck could get to you.
That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to firefighters. It's not acceptable to members of the community either. One of the major challenges we have is in recruiting people to come on board the fire department.
Recruiting is a nationwide struggle right now. You know, people are busier than what they used to be.
The demographic is aging, and it's aging rapidly.
The call volume has tripled over the past 30 years, so we need volunteers today more than ever. 70% of people don't even know if their department is volunteer or needs volunteers. So that is a big gap that we need to fill.
We're trying to make sure that communities and organizations there understand that we need help. This film and the assistance of John Deere in making this film will result in recruitment of new firefighters across this nation. I think we're going to see a groundswell of people who are going to realize the value of the volunteer fire service in their communities, and they're going to want to join.
I'm really hopeful that when people see this film, they'll see themselves in some of these roles and think, I might be able to do that, and that they will reach out to their local department and take that next step and see how they can also give back. And hopefully encourage and inspire some of those people that watch it to join up.
There are many ways to track your loved ones online, keeping their safety in mind. Now, one phone provider is taking it one step further. Here's more.
Trick or treat! 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 Dad, you don't have to follow me everywhere.
And he's right. With the brand new Verizon Family app, one tap on their phone and Safe Walk with SOS will share their location in real time with you. Plus, if they feel unsafe, an SOS alert instantly goes out to their emergency contacts. The location monitoring allows you to see where your family members are on a map anytime. You can even set up location alerts so you'll get a notification when they arrive at or leave specific places. It's like having your own family GPS. Scare away the worry? Not the fun. Try Verizon Family free. Visit Verizon.com/Verizon Family.
Many people are facing the pressure of selecting health benefits during this year's annual enrollment. Joining us now with more is Ryan Victorin with Fidelity Investments.
So a health savings account, or HSA, is a tax-advantaged way to save and pay for healthcare costs now or in the future. So if you're enrolled in a high-deductible health plan, either through your employer or in the open market, it allows you to set aside funds to pay for qualified medical expenses without paying taxes on them. But many Americans are still unaware of HSAs, how they work, or even what the tax advantage means. So this is one of the best features of an HSA. It is the only type of investment account where you can actually get a triple tax advantage. So what does that mean? 1, the money you put in, your contributions, go in pre-tax. 2, you can use the money in your account to pay for qualified medical costs tax-free. And 3, you can also invest the money in your HSA. And any growth you see over time will be tax-free as well. For more information, find it on our website at fidelity.com/YHSA.
Menopause is an issue that impacts millions of women, and yet it is often misunderstood. Joining us now to talk more about it is Dr. Alyssa Dweck, the Chief Medical Officer at Bonafide Health.
There are so many misconceptions about menopause, not the least of which is the actual definition of menopause. So we will get that straight. Menopause is considered 12 consecutive months without menstruation after the age of 40. And the average age of menopause in the U.S. is about 51 years old. There are many symptoms of menopause, the most iconic being hot flashes and night sweats. And these can be a mere nuisance for some people, but are incredibly disruptive for many, many women. Bonafide has just launched a brand new supplement called Thermella with naturally derived ingredients. This is over-the-counter, no prescription, very vigorously clinically studied and shown to help with hot flashes and night sweats in just 2 weeks. Please visit hellobonafide.com. Plenty of medically vetted and valid, credible information about menopause and perimenopause, as well as info about our supplements and products.
All right, it's time for us to check in with our friends at The Daily Buzz right here on Daily Flash.
A After a long court battle against the EPA, a judge ruled that adding fluoride to the public water supply poses an unreasonable risk to children's IQ.
So mothers who were drinking fluoridated water at the current levels, according to the court, caused a decrease in IQ points. And it ranged from low end of 2.5 to up to almost 7 points. And it's telling the EPA now to go back and re-examine their safety and efficacy policy on fluoridation.
A loss of just 1 point is associated with reduced educational attainment, employment status, and earned wages. For parents worried about children's oral health without fluoride, there are safer ways to maintain it.
First and foremost, a sound diet. Green leafy vegetables, some good protein, good fats. Once every few months, they can just gargle with iodine for about 60 seconds and spit it out, and you've got an incredible antibacterial effect. Rinsing with warm salt water, gargling with that twice a day, is also antibacterial.
Get more info at IAOMT.org.
Follow the Daily Buzz on social media.
Well, it's not always a clean getaway when it comes to sailing on the luxury cruise ships these days. The list of the world's dirtiest cruise ships has just been released. And the dirtiest of them all, the Hanseatic Inspiration, which received a score of 62. The CDC says anything below an 85 is bad. The report listed health code violations like grimy beer taps, insects swarming the pool bar, and a dead bird near an outside grill. Another violation, food items requiring refrigeration were not stored at the right temperatures. Despite the violations, a spokesperson for the cruise ship said they strive to meet the strictest hygiene requirements every year and are hoping to get retested very soon.
That is not the title you want, by all means, on that as well. Because when you're out there, if you think about it, especially on some of the cruise ships, they make sure you wash your hands as much as possible.
Yeah.
But it's what you're eating could be getting you sick.
That is
Not
true.
good. We're doing Stream for the Weekend. That's coming up right around the corner. Stick around. All right, before we head into the weekend, we always like to give you our picks for streaming for the weekend. This is where we tell you something you got to check out on your streaming services. First up, AJ, what's yours?
Okay, here we go. My pick for this weekend is Apple TV's new thriller, Disclaimer, starring Cate Blanchett and Kevin Kline.
Destiny doesn't knock on any door. It crashes in without permission and grabs you mercilessly by your soul. She needed to feel it.
Baron Cohen also stars in this 7-part psychological thriller. It's absolutely terrific.
And now Apple TV, they have where they come out every week. Is this one?
Yes, it's a once a week kind of thing.
I appreciate
Just want the whole thing.
I know.
Mine is also a once a week thing. My pick this week is the vampire mockumentary, and it's their last season, What We Do in the Shadows on FX.
Sometimes a vampire will go into a super slumber.
Happy New Year, 1996!
Woo! We forgot to wake Jerry up. Oops.
This one's on us.
So, you let me sleep for 50 years? What have you been doing?
Every day I am learning the dark arts of corporate America.
So it's the 6th and final season of FX's What We Do in the Shadows, and I'm glad it happened, but I'm so sad to see it go. And if you've seen the original movie, then you kind of see how they melded all of it together.
Okay.
We love it.
It has won a lot of awards, too. It's, a lot of people talking about it. All right, this one has been out for a second. I binge-watched it all last week, and after all, you can't get enough of Vince Vaughn and Bad Monkey.
They said I was consistently reckless, inappropriate, and glib. Why can't you just hide me on the desk in here or something? Wouldn't even be doing any real work. I'd just be checking the websites all night.
Vaughn plays Yancey. He's a former detective, police detective, who gets involved in the world of corruption and greed after a tourist finds a severed arm while fishing. It goes crazy from there.
More
It's
Florida
Vince
man.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Just one big Florida man.
Yeah, they shot it out in the Keys. There's some continuity issues that I have. First off, Key West is not in Dade County, and they keep on saying that drives me crazy. But if you're not from there, you don't know. You're not going to care.
Yes.
But us Florida folks,
They make it seem like the drive from Key West to Miami is like 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
It's 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or 4 hours from Miami. Yeah.
So keep that in mind as well. That does it for our show. Thank you so much, Ty, for spending time with us.
Be good, everybody. Check out dailyflashshow.com for more info.